Step 3. Activate and develop the upper register. Objectives of Step 3. The student first experiences singing in the upper register without strain, and then develops greater strength and power in the CT cricothyroid muscle dominant upper register singing. To begin the process of learning to sing higher pitches, the student must first experience singing high notes with release, that is, without straining. For the unbalanced pulled lower singer, this will be a new experience. Once this is achieved, we then work on increasing vocal fold adduction, closed quotient, and thus power. When we sing from the lower register to the upper register, the vocal folds transition from shorter and thicker, known as TA dominant, to longer and thinner, CT dominant. Extrinsic muscle engagement, or tension, will impede this process. In order to find a free upper register, the singer must release just enough and not too much as they transition through the first bridge, otherwise known as the primo passaggio. We call this connected release. If they let go too much, they will experience a flip or voice break. If they don't release enough, they will pull too much weight through the primo passaggio, creating strain. Another way of thinking about this is that the TA, or thyroarytenoid muscle, decreases activity as pitch ascends and CT activity increases. When singing correctly in the upper register, the voice should be energized, clear, and powerful, but not forced. We use the closed vowels U and E to encourage a free tone in the upper register. Category-based objectives. All categories need improved strength in the upper register. For all categories, the objective is to create better vocal fold adduction and closed quotient in the upper register, first with hooty imposed larynx sounds and later with adducted onset exercises. Exercises occur above the first bridge. We will continue to use the spiral learning concept. First, we discover release, experiencing a new and better coordination above the first bridge that is free from strain. Then we reinforce with adduction, reinforcing and strengthening the new coordination, increasing vocal fold adduction and closed quotient. Then we develop automatic habits, a new neuromuscular habit created by consistent focused repetition over time. Order of priorities. First, we discover activation with release, singing in the upper register without strain. This might mean the unbalanced pulled lower singer's voice is breathy at first. That's okay. Our first priority is to sing high without straining. Again, we reinforce with adduction. Once the singer has experienced this new coordination, they increase efficiency in vocal fold adduction at the onset of tone for a stronger and clearer sound. As in all things, we want just enough but not too much adduction and compression. If the singer overcompresses, the sound will be squeezed and pressed with excessive air pressure. If the vocal folds do not adduct enough, the result is a breathy, anemic, and weak sound. In the development phase, we're creating greater strength in the upper register while maintaining balance between air pressure and the vocal folds. The larynx. Step 3 exercises are performed with a slightly low laryngeal position. The larynx can assume various positions in the throat, high, neutral, or imposed. Vocalists should avoid laryngeal hiking caused by the engagement of the extrinsic suprahyoid elevator strap muscles. Our first sound, the woo-ee, is sung with a slightly imposed larynx to counteract the common singer's tendency of hiking the larynx by engaging the swallowing muscles when singing high notes. The tongue. When we sing higher pitches, it is vital to be able to drop the jaw while maintaining a clear vowel. When singers have a difficult time singing certain vowels, such as E, on high pitches, the problem is often that the tongue is not independent of jaw movement. When we sing the vowel E on high pitches, the jaw should drop, while the tongue remains high and forward. The E vowel requires the tongue to be at its highest position in the mouth. The tongue independence exercise, moving from A to E, will develop independence between the tongue and the jaw, allowing the tongue to be able to move freely to create any vowel sound needed, independent of jaw position. Here's the shape of the resonators in front, central, and back vowels, and you can see that the E vowel, the tongue is really high and forward. And then the ah vowel, well, the ah in golf, for example, is back and flat. Here's our upper register modes. Falsetto, very weak. Head, a little stronger. Mix, stronger yet. And chest mix, the strongest. Step 3 exercises. All right, now we are ready for our step 3 exercises where we work on our upper register. In step 3, we are developing the upper register, the area of the voice above the first bridge. To sing these higher pitches, the vocal folds must lengthen and thin due to the cricothyroid or CT muscles tilting the thyroid cartilage downward. The first objective in step 3 is to sing these higher pitches with release or a lack of strain. This might actually mean that in some cases you'll be hearing a breathy sound. Our first objective is to get into that upper register without strain. So if it's breathy, if it's weak, whatever it is at this point, we'll take it. Ultimately, we do want to build more strength by increasing vocal fold adduction and closed quotient and things like that. But again, once we're there without strain, then we can proceed onward. We strengthen and develop the upper register so that it eventually matches the power and tone quality of the lower register. And again, we'll see here that we have a round 1 set of exercises. Those are the gray ones. We are activating step 3, which is the upper register. We call it activation, and it's round 1, discover. We're going to start with an exercise that makes use of 2 closed vowels. Now, closed vowels are vowels made with the tongue close to the roof of the mouth. So these vowels are the ones that provide the most release or the least strain in singing. So our 2 closed vowels that we're using are oo and e. So the first exercise is woo-ee. When we sing this exercise, first of all, you should be facing a mirror. Students should always face the mirror. Watch what's going on with the jaw. Jaw needs to be dropped. And we use the thumb and finger on the corners of the mouth to prevent spreading. We don't want to see a big grin or a smile when we go to the E sound, particularly on a high note. So jaw down, corners in, and neutral mouth. The more stable and neutral the mouth position is by avoiding the wide grimace, the easier it is to maintain consistently correct tone. All right. If the sound is breathy or raspy, there is an imbalance between air pressure and vocal folds. So if it's breathy, that's one problem. If it's raspy, that's another problem. Raspiness is usually excessive air pressure. All right. When we're singing or when we're teaching, we always want to ask ourselves 4 questions. What am I hearing? Is the sound straining, flipping, or breathy? 2, what vocal category or tendency does this indicate? We learned before that we have different categories of the voice depending on what we observe in each of the registers and in the transition between the registers. So is it unbalanced pulled lower? That's the person that strains on the bottom and tries to take their chest voice too high or lower register too high. Is it unbalanced light lower? Okay, both of those are unbalanced registration. The second one means the lower register is too light and breathy, very typical of a choral female singer. Or is it undeveloped? Is it just breathy all over the place? Okay, so and what is the objective to address this? What are we going to be working on? More vocal fold adduction, various things that we can combine to create a better sound. What combination of vowels, consonants, temporary sounds, and scales will work best to meet our objective? All right, so let's go to our woo-ee exercise. The jaw is dropped. We have thumb and finger on either side of the mouth to help us remember not to grin on that E sound, and it sounds like this. All right, we follow that with a kind of a staccato sound with the yee, yee, engaging the core muscles to some degree, keeping that jaw nice and low, making sure that the tongue is in a nice high forward position. So if a person cannot make a clear E with their jaw dropped, that means that they lack independence between the tongue and the jaw. Okay, and then we do a whole step, half step exercise. And again, these exercises are performed in many keys. So if we, as I said before, if we can't make a clear E, the problem is with the tongue. So we want to kind of work on this tongue independence exercise, where you go back and forth from the vowel ah to the vowel E. So the kind of lowest and most flat vowel, and then to the most high and forward vowel with the tongue. And it sounds like this. Ah, E, ah, E. And the idea is to do that without moving the jaw. So round 2, we're developing a little further here. In the upper register, everyone probably needs more adduction, almost everyone. So everyone will get these exercises, these adduction exercises. The objective is to, again, help the vocal folds come closer to one another. That's called adduction, in order to create a more efficient and clear sound. Here's the first exercise, the triplet adduction exercise. It's just a light little eek, 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 eek. We're not hitting the chords together or banging the chords together really hard. It's just very light. It's called the coup de glotte. All right, once we can do that, we're going to sustain it. All right, building on that skill, we're going to adduct and then come down. Now, these exercises start higher and bring the student down to where the bridge area is. And that is for a specific reason. The bridge area is going to be where the student is the most unstable. And so we want to go ahead and bring that upper register coordination, the upper register approach down to the first bridge. Down and up here. Not everybody needs the monkey voice, but here it is. For the person that's really having a hard time, we use this one. Again, we're not hitting or banging the chords together really hard. We're just taking it kind of easy. Just getting that feeling of the nice adduction there. Okay, now we're going to go down with the adduction and then slide up. And remember that we will try to work our way out of and away from these adducted exercises as soon as possible. We don't want to continue these for too long, but it does help the student feel what it's like to sing with a clear vocal tone. Round 3, our advanced development, we are again working on vibrato for these exercises. Okay, so hiss and then ye. And then we speed it up. Okay. And let's do the 5 pulse on the female here. Again, we're sort of determining how many bounces we're going to create with this vibrato. And believe it or not, this actually does turn into a really nicely produced vibrato over time. The student becomes aware of an even pulse, and we will be speeding it up as time goes on, and pretty soon it sort of takes over, and it's just a very nicely produced, natural-sounding vibrato. It really works. All right, here's the 5 pulse vibrato fast. And if we need more adduction, we'll do an adduct with the 5 pulse. Let's do the male on this again. Okay, and then we're going to add a little vibrato here with this slide and a 5 pulse. And again, we are in our advanced development here, so we're going to use 3 and 5 pulses. Using the consonant B as the first consonant. And then we're going to speed this up just a little. Again, being very precise about the number of pulses that we intend to do and that we execute.